Okay, so I had this huge video planned. It was going to be really cool, and you're going to see how I have a Super Nintendo that I got that was broken and a Game Boy that was broken, and I was able to get them both working. Here's the thing. I just bought a brand new camera for my overhead filming, and I didn't realize that the grid lines were on the entire time. So I decided, just for the sake of being authentic, I wasn't going to put bad parts back in and reshoot the video like I was surprised. No. So I'm going to continue to upload the video where it's going to have grid lines on it. There's exposure issues. I am not a videographer or a photographer. I am just a dude with too much time on his hands. So please bear with me for the quality of the video. I promise they're going to get better. But here is the raw video that you're about to see of the grid lines and the auto exposure and all. But I hope you really enjoy it. Like and subscribe if you like what you see. Thanks, guys. So you guys know I can't resist buying junk Super Nintendos. So this one I bought on a junk lot with some other stuff. It came with a junk Game Boy and this really neat Game Boy carrying case, which, you know, it's a little dirty, but I just think it's cool. I guess you would take the Game Boy and it would fit like so, and it's actually pretty rugged. You put your games in here. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool actually. So I'm just gonna get that cleaned up. It's not really a fix per se, but it's kind of a neat little thing. It's got a little side band. I'm gonna be looking at both of these today. I figured I'd start with the Super Nintendo because I have more experience with those. So first thing to do whenever you get something is play test it. So let me get my universal power supply here. Once I find it. Check the back. Power port's actually intact. I need to be gentle with these. And let me grab the connector for my Super Nintendo. Which I already have right here. Wonderful. And turn this to the side just so I can make it fit. All right, and we're on Super Nintendo. Go to my system test. That way you guys can watch this in real time with me. It is going to be a little bit smaller, or excuse me, it's going to be smaller, but it's also going to be a little bit delayed. But let's turn it on, see what happens. Nothing. Not even a power light. Reset's not doing anything. So, whenever that's the case, my first thought is blown fuse. That's probably the easiest thing to fix. So let's see what happens when we crack this bad boy open. Gonna need my GameBit driver, not that one. Need this one. I don't know why these are always missing. Cool. Wow, that is so clean. Doesn't have the external board revisions, so kind of cool. Yeah, so first thing to check, let me zoom in for you here since I have this new camera. So right here is what I'm going to be looking at. This guy. And sorry that the light is a little funky. I'm still working the kinks out here. But we're looking at this right here. And that we will test with a multimeter. That's the fuse. And all we're looking for, if it beeps, we're good. Look at that. No beep. No beep whatsoever. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's no beep. So I have some fuses. They don't look the same, but they are the same. I'm going to back this out now. All right. And still working out some of the kinks with my camera. So this is, I think the exposure is probably adjusting itself. So my bad if that was a little on the dark side. But these are all little pico fuses. They're just rated for the same thing. So I'm just going to pull one out. I'm heating up my soldering iron right now. This is a really simple fix. And oftentimes this is the issue if it's not powering it on at all. I'm not going to even bother taking anything else out because, I mean, if it's not turning on, that's probably got a lot to do with it. I don't know what's underneath here. I don't think I'm lucky enough for this to be a one chip, but if it's a one chip, that'd be pretty cool. So I'll save that for the rest of the video, but soldering irons heated up, and let me grab some tweezers. And all I'm going to do is grab it and lift it out one by one. Just heating it up. Doing a lift. There you go. Do the same thing, just flipping it around. Perfection. And it's always a good idea. Go ahead and test this out of circuit. Sometimes they can give you different readings out of circuit. Still dead. Still very much dead. That guy is toast. But if we check our new guy, that's good to go. So I'll trim this a little bit on each side. No, I don't know how much on each side, so I'm just going to eyeball this somewhere in that range. A little longer. Okay. Same thing. Grab my tweezers, and now just going to melt it back in place. Stuff. And it never hurts to add a little fresh solder. Mix it in. Get it nice and pretty. All I'm doing here is applying a little fresh solder and some downward force here. All right. We're good there. Good contact. Honestly, I feel pretty good about that. So let's plug this back in. Get my cables back. I'm going to leave the top shell off for now. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay. And let me go over the system test here. I'm even going to go so far as to, I'm going to go ahead and put my burn-in cartridge in. This is my testing guy. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. First try. And I know it's a little delayed down there, but first try. Holy crap. And it looks outstanding. Like it's really crystal clear. Let me get a controller then. And I'm using my 8-bit do, however you want to pronounce it, gamepad. Really like it. cool. Wow. That is outstanding. This is in, I mean, immaculate condition. There's not a speck of dust on this, and that's just amazing. I do want to see what's under the hood, though, because I'm just so curious. I've never seen one so clean. And furthermore, I've never seen a ribbon cable that was out front like this, which has me very curious, because if this is a highly sought after one chip, then boy, that's something. This person clearly didn't know anything about game consoles, and that's not an insult to them. I most certainly wouldn't say that they just didn't know anything, but you know, they might have just not thought of a fuse. This is looking really special. I've never seen a heat shield that looks like this. I think I have to take off the rest of it, duh. I'm very excited, because I don't know. Nope. It's a simple SNES GPU or a CPU GPM02. I'm sure somebody was probably watching this and like, you idiot. Of course it's not. You need this, that, and the other because it's, you know, you would know, blah, blah, blah. Hey, that's fine. But cool. It works flawlessly. I'm going to put this back on, put this back together. And gosh, I just like the way that this one is so clean. I'm going to try my best to keep it intact. I did have an unfortunate event where I had a sale on eBay, and the gentleman got the unit and he said it wouldn't turn on, and I mentioned it could be the fuse. It was leaving my shop just fine, so I'm going to work out that situation for him and make sure he's well taken care of. Maybe he gets this unit. I don't know, but you know, we're not doing this to make a whole lot of money. We're just doing this to learn stuff and be happy. So at the end of the day, it was the fuse. And we'll just be putting this back together. Well, what a great fix. Goes to show you that something as simple as a fuse can be the culprit. So I guess now, since that looks good, I've got time. Why don't we take a look at this Game Boy? Of course, the first thing to do is let's put some batteries in it. Okay, so I've got my working DMG Game Boy here. I can already see there's a little bit of corrosion in there. Not a whole lot, but I'm not sure that that would be enough to make a difference. But let's just put some batteries in here and see if at the very least if we get some power, and then we'll kind of tackle it as we go. Okay. No power whatsoever. Buttons feel okay. Everything feels okay. Okay. Obviously, I know my Game Boy works. I say that, but there's no light coming on it. Even mine is giving me trouble now. I'm like, yeah, that mine works, and it's giving me trouble, right? It's probably the batteries I used, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, because they were cheap Amazon batteries. So let's get cracking. Take these batteries out. Let me do the classic slap it on your hand method. Now with these, you need some specialty bits. Let's try to zoom in a little bit here. And working with this, there is a ribbon cable, so you have to be kind of opening it like this. Real gentle like. And there's a series of screws, so you kind of open it as if it were a book. And then you can lightly work the ribbon cable out, like so. Now, since this is the main power component of it, so to speak, let's just see what's getting power and what's not. So I'm going to continue to remove these screws. See if I can remove this just by itself. Yeah, I can. And there's some other pieces here. So I don't think there's a fuse. To my knowledge, there's not a fuse. But there might be. So let's see. I mean, it's not really strong enough to necessitate a fuse. Looking at capacitors, seeing if there's anything that's bulging or obvious. Nothing quite obvious. Okay. I'm not sure what this sideboard does, if I'm being honest with you. Like this I know is like a headphone jack. I'm not really certain what this sideboard does, what it's responsible for. If I put this back in, and I put some batteries in. Maybe my multimeter will give me some information. So ideally, I should be able to touch these points and see voltage. Surely it's not just bad corrosion. I mean, that would be a way to start, I suppose. No, I think the battery terminals are fine. They weren't so bad. But these two, should they not be talking to each other? Right, what else we got here? Power switch, maybe? about the headphone jack. Is any of that getting power? But you would think that this and this would kind of be like, what's my ground here? Okay. So you would think that by touching these two, I would be getting voltage higher than what I'm getting. I don't think it's just corrosion, but could it be? I don't believe that it'd be that bad. Because it didn't look that bad. It is yucky, but it's not. I didn't think it was terrible. Maybe it is terrible, though. Maybe it's terrible enough to warrant a clean. I guess it's easy enough to remove them. These look okay. Or rather, I don't know how to get those out. I'll clean that one. All right, so what I'm going to do then is grab some vinegar. Now, something I had to learn the hard way is I'm using like pro grade burns your skin off vinegar. You do not need this. Household vinegar is more than acceptable. Do not use this to clean anything on a PCB. I did that and I'm stupid. But what it is good for is, as you can see, cleaning some corrosion. So it's going to fry that right up. And then we'll clean it off with some isopropyl alcohol. And I'll probably lightly cotton swab the other parts. Yeah, a little goes a long way. I mean, made quick work of that, no doubt. So you probably didn't see it off camera, but I dunked it in some isopropyl alcohol to clean it off. Good as new. No corrosion. And I just swabbed the other ones. Yeah, so. Right now, I'm not saying that did anything, but what if it did? That'd be pretty cool. And this guy back in. Now that's freshly clean. Again, that would be pretty cool if that was the fix. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm supposed to get a voltage off of these two. Wait, but I did. Outstanding. So I cleaned them, and now I've got voltage on those pins. I wonder now. Okay. Let's get creative here. Because I'm getting voltage to those now, I'm just going to reassemble this. This is in pretty good shape otherwise. All right. And how about Pokemon Blue? Nothing wrong with Pokemon Blue. Oh, did I goof this? Oh my gosh, I did. Well, I think it's just the switch. No, it's supposed to be that way. I never knew that. I never knew there was a notch. Look at this. I never knew if the switch was on, you couldn't put a game in. But interesting. So, regardless, was getting voltage. Ooh. Wait. Okay, well, turned on. How about that? Don't ask me why that worked. Just moved the batteries around. Y'all know the screen. Wow. That's beautiful. And I think the only appropriate thing to do now that this Game Boy is fixed is, I mean, my gosh, we've got to put it in the Game Boy case, right? And then, I don't know what kind of games. We got Pokemon. We've got Game & Watch Gallery 2. Yeah, maybe put some headphones in there. And then we're good to go. This is designed for the gamer on the go. It is, you know, the portable carry-all by Nextsoft.